Hey you guys, welcome back. If you guys are new here, my name is Lauren, and I'm usually here for all your science-backed skincare reviews, but today we're gonna throw in a makeup review. I like to sprinkle in some new makeup releases here and there, and today we're gonna be talking about one that I was so excited for. The new e.l.f. Cosmetics Camo CC cream. When I heard the ingredients in this foundation and the fact that a lot of people were comparing it to It Cosmetics CC cream, I was very excited about this. It Cosmetics CC cream is one of my most favorites, so if I can get a dupe for that at 14 bucks, yes, I'm all about it. So I was so excited to pick this up. But now if you guys were like me and you were trying to pick out a shade match, you found it a little difficult. I felt like the swatches were completely off from the descriptions online, which is why I picked up 4 shades because I just could not decide. So I'll swatch these here today. I hope this will help you guys out a little bit. For me, you guys will see the shade that I was going to pick, and the foundation shade match that they picked out for me was completely off. So we'll go through this little journey together. I'll try on the foundation and I'll do a little wear test. You guys can see how this wears throughout the day. So we'll go to the try on first, and then I'll check in with you guys in the end, and you guys will know my final thoughts. So lots to get through, so we'll just go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so I picked up 4 different shades. I basically went with 1 shade lighter than the shade I thought I'd be, and then 2 shades above that, which the shade I thought I'd be was 240W. This is light with warm golden undertones, and then 210 neutral has neutral beige undertones. The shade above that is 280 neutral. This has neutral warm undertones, and then medium 310C has cool peach undertones. I was so confused even after reading the descriptions because I'm like, okay, 240W sounds like my skin tone, but then comparing my favorite go-to foundation shade, the Too Faced Born This Way, in the shade Nude, it matched me with medium 310C. And then I was really thrown off by the shade swatches online too. This is the 310 neutral. To me, that looks super dark. And then when you look at the digital picture of the swatch, this is 310 neutral, which in theory should be darker than the next shade down, the light shade. This is 280. Like, that looks so dark to me. Needless to say, I was a little thrown off, so I just went with all 4 shades. So this will be a little experiment. Let's first swatch the first one at the light 210 neutral. So here we have 210 neutral. This looks like, I don't know, maybe it could adapt to my skin tone, but it looks like it might be a little too light for me. And now they compare 210 neutral to light in the It CC creams. Here I have the matte version. So let's compare. They look a little off here. Let me swatch the It CC cream right next to that. Yeah, the light shade in the It Cosmetics is looking a lot darker than 210 neutral. Now this is definitely more, the undertone's a little off. This is more ashy toned, a little bit more cool toned than the neutral. I feel like a lot of It Cosmetics shades are more on the cool toned side. But yeah, that shade match is definitely off. Now let's see how 240W compares. Like I said, this is the shade I thought I would be just based on the description. So here we have the shade 240 Warm. That looks like a pretty neutral warm undertone. Like, it almost looks like this should be the neutral undertone. This looks a little bit more on the cool tone side, the 210 neutral. These are feeling really creamy on the hands. I can't wait to see how they feel on the face. I feel like they're gonna be nice and hydrating, which I'm excited about it. My skin is so dry right now. And they have a lot of moisturizing ingredients. I'll talk about the ingredients when I apply the foundation, but so excited about this formula. Okay, 280 is looking pretty dark actually. Let's see how this swatches. All right, so here we have 280 neutral. It looks like there's a big jump in tones there. Weirdly enough, the 240 looks lighter than both the 210 and the 280. Interesting, but yeah, that looks like it's gonna be a little bit too dark for my complexion. So let's see how this 310 works out. Now, supposedly this is supposed to be my foundation shade match according to that foundation chart, if it matches up with the Too Faced Nude. So down here we have the 310C. Now I'm even more thrown off because I feel like this looks like, as compared to the rest of them, the most warm toned shade. Like, I feel like there's a strong, almost like an orangey yellow undertone to that one. What do you guys think with my complexion? It almost looks like the 210 neutral would work best. And then I want to swatch my Too Faced Born This Way right underneath this. Let's see how it compares. So down here we have the Too Faced Born This Way in Nude, and then here's the 310. Pretty big difference there. Now, as you guys can see, it looks to me the exact same as the 210 neutral. So I'm thinking maybe 210 neutral might be my shade match. All right, well, that was a little bit of a process. Now, I do feel like there is a helpful chart on the website, even more helpful than the foundation shade matcher, I think. When you look at the columns based on the undertones, it does go light to dark pretty clearly. But if you're just going by the numbers, you're gonna be all over the place like my swatches were. So find your undertone and try to pick your shade that way. I think that's a little bit more helpful. All right, so let's apply this foundation now after all that. Oh my gosh, that was a process. So we're gonna go with the 210 neutral here. I'm gonna be using my Tarte. This is is it the foundation sponge? No, you know what? I think this is the concealer sponge. Love this. I love the feeling. It's super soft, a lot more like squishy and pliable than the Beauty Blender is. To me, I think the Beauty Blender can be so stiff. You really have to wet it, and even when it's super wet, it's not as squishy as this guy. And this is, I think, $4 cheaper than the Beauty Blender. So this is my new go-to sponge. All right, so I'm gonna start with just a half a pump on the right-hand side of my face. We'll just dot it on here. Wow, I'm like immediately getting full coverage. I think I'm gonna like this. So the ingredients of this foundation immediately pulled me in. First of all, I was excited that it was an SPF of 30. So you're getting your mineral SPF protection. There's also niacinamide in here to brighten the skin. And peptides are in here. There's also nice, really hydrating ingredients. Sunflower seed oil, sodium hyaluronate, which is a humectant. Lots of really nice things. So many nice oils. I was just really impressed by this ingredient list, and they thankfully did leave out the fragrance. Now, if we're comparing this to the IT Cosmetics CC cream, the big difference is the fragrance and then also the SPF coverage. The regular CC cream from IT Cosmetics has an SPF of 50. So I was very excited to see that. Now, granted, if you're only using one pump of this foundation, I'm sure you're not getting the full SPF coverage of 30. So you probably should still be using some SPF underneath of this, but it's something, and I was glad to see that. So this is looking and feeling really great. There's a little bit of a shine to it. It almost looks like it's gonna be a satin sheen. And I'm getting right now medium coverage. Initially I thought it was gonna be full off the bat, but you can still see my melasma spot right here. Let's apply maybe like a quarter of a pump more and see what we can get as far as the coverage. Yeah, so that did the trick. There I'm getting full coverage. Looks really nice. It's not caking up at all. I love the finish of this. It really looks skin-like. And I'm happy with the shade match. I think after all that work, I think 210 is gonna be a nice shade match for me, especially in the winter. I may have to switch it up to even the 310 maybe in the summer, we'll see. But I think this does seem to oxidize as it dries down. All right, so I'm gonna bring you guys in a little closer so you guys can see how this looks on my skin. Let's turn down the brightness here. Oh, this is looking really good. I love that dewiness it gives. It's not super dewy, but just enough shine to where it looks skin-like. And I love, my pores look really smooth. I feel like my texture is taken down. There is a little bit of redness still around my nose, so I'm not getting super full coverage here. But overall, it looks like it covers really nicely. Love the finish, and let's look at my forehead lines. Looks really good where my forehead lines are too. Like, it's not settling into my lines. So that is really exciting also. And then underneath the eyes, looks good. It's not really enhancing. I mean, I have some crepiness right there, but it doesn't look like it's settling. Eek. All right, so yeah, I'm really happy with this so far. It's looking really good. I love how skin-like it is and how lightweight it feels. Love the coverage too. It's not too full coverage where it's looking cakey or anything. I'm gonna go ahead here and finish my makeup. I will do a light dusting of powder just in my T-zone. I'll probably use my Glossier powder because that is a pretty light powder. It's not gonna add any extra coverage. So we'll get a good idea of how this really wears throughout the day. I'll do a check-in and you guys will see my final thoughts at the end of the video. All right, guys, so here I am in natural light. I had a doctor's appointment. I was wearing a mask inside the doctor's office, and I will say I do feel like there was a little bit of transfer. You can see on my nose some redness is popping through, and then foundation has definitely already faded. You can see my melasma spots. Oh yeah, over there too. So it looks like it faded to about a medium coverage. Definitely not as full coverage as when I first applied it. But overall, I feel like my skin texture looks really good. Like you can see my pores here. But I feel like, I don't know, my skin still looks pretty smooth. I don't have any settling underneath my eyes or anything. It looks really nice. It just, you know, bummed that it faded. But the transfer on the mask, you can see this is the mask I was wearing. A little bit came off where my nose is there, but everywhere else it didn't transfer too badly. It sets pretty nicely, and I didn't have to put too much powder. So far so good, but the coverage definitely does not hold up. All right, guys, so here we are at the end of the day. It is about 8 o'clock at night, getting ready to put the kids down. The foundation's been on my face about 8 hours now, and you can see it is literally almost non-existent. I mean, my skin still looks pretty good as far as like my texture goes, and you cannot see the foundation at all. Like there's no patchy spots. It didn't break up at all. I like how the foundation faded, and all day it felt really lightweight. It does not look cakey at all. So I'll take the light fading coverage. I don't mind that. I'm not really going for a full coverage look these days anyway. But you can see up close, like the foundation didn't really settle anywhere. Don't mind my toddler in the background. But overall, it looks really good to me. I mean, this is real life all day makeup of a mom with an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old. They were literally both trying to put stickers on my face today. So I think with all things considered, it looks really good. I'm happy with this. I love the lightweight feel. I think my favorite part about it is that it's undetectable, and you get that almost immediate full coverage off the bat, but then it fades nicely throughout the day. And big tip for that foundation shade matcher, you have to put in at least 2 to 3 foundations, and it will give you a better match. I played more around with it during the day. I put all my different favorite foundation shades in there, and I kept getting 210. So I finally was able to get my correct shade match. So that's a big tip there. Don't just put one foundation in there. The website doesn't tell you that. It just tells you to put in one foundation shade. So yeah, I wish I would have known that. I feel like that would have made things a lot easier. And maybe go a shade lighter than what you are. It's great to see that e.l.f. shade range is on the darker side. I mean, that never happens. Usually we have the issue with too many fair tone shades. So this is, it seems like we're making progress with inclusivity. So yeah, I overall was really happy with this foundation. As you can see, the coverage definitely doesn't hold up. My dark spots are poking through at the end of the day, but I appreciate that it doesn't look like there's foundation on my skin, and it feels lightweight. So I'm definitely a happy camper today. I'm a fan of this foundation. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was a fun one. I love doing foundation reviews. I actually have a couple more coming up. I got the new Makeup Revolution and the new Milani. They're both glowier, more dewier foundation, so look for those reviews to come. And thanks again for watching. You guys are the best, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.